again, and welcome to Ready to Heal. I'm your host, Betsy Sawyer Galen, and this is the show where we talk about all sorts of types of alternative healing. Some of them you may have heard of before, and some of them you have probably never heard of. And I'm welcoming back my guest today, Maryanne Savino. Thank you for coming back.
Oh, thank you, Betsy. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You are a sonic alchemist, an empathic channel, and a temple dancer.
Yes.
And I don't know if you had another one too, which we might touch on too, which is a womb priestess, which is on your website, correct?
Yes.
So today we are going to talk a little bit more about you came last time and we talked about how you got involved in all of these things. Can you just touch on that briefly again?
The temple dances were the first start of, or I should say the catalyst for the sound frequencies, and even leading me into being a womb priestess, who is a woman who holds space, sacred space, and creates space for women to heal the mother wound and also the wound of the really the world, that the divine feminine that's been really shut down, and we're trying to help her come back and take her rightful place. So I began working with a specific temple dance from Hawaii. It's an ancient dance that's thousands of years old, and it's the foundation practice for Hawaiian temple massage. It's a temple body work that the kahuna, the shaman of Hawaii, developed from watching a flock of birds called a frigate bird. And these particular birds would fly in a V formation, and the kahuna, the shaman, would watch very intently on how they maneuvered, and they would notice how they would take turns holding the space at the front of the flock.
Oh, interesting.
So they then took the movements that they were watching, which were very geometrical in shape and movement. Actually, the dance itself is the shape of the infinity symbol. So it's the no beginning, no end. It's all this infinite creational energy. And they would watch this, and then they took the actual movement patterns, brought it onto the body as a form of massage. But you can also just do the dance as a healing tool. It's really a healing pathway. It's not so much a technique. I would say it's more my kumu, that's a Hawaiian teacher, used to say that it is a way of life. It's not so much about a technique, even though there are techniques involved, that it really is a way of life. And so from that particular dance, I would say it must have been about a year and a half, almost 2 years that I had been practicing. And I was in a class one night with one of my teachers. And as a result of this very profound and powerful dance, which is like a dance of alchemy, it's a prayer in motion, really.
Is it done to music?
Yes, it is done to music. I've done it in silence. You can do it in silence if you want to make it more meditative and internal. That's fine too. After about 2 years of practicing this particular dance, my voice opened up in class one evening, and I began to make these tonal sounds that I didn't even realize I was doing. And then a woman came over and said to me, "Wow, those were beautiful tones," and I didn't know what she meant. I said, "Well, what's toning?" And she said, "Well, what you were doing." And I said, "Wow, I felt it more than I could hear it."
Were other people doing it too, or
my teacher was?
And so you were just kind of following? That was just coming up
I think it was an activation, because the dance itself, and I will demonstrate it, really does open up the channels to connect with our divine presence. It's the divinity within, it's the divinity of the universe, it's connection to the earth, it's all the elements of nature, the water and earth, fire and air. It's really a deep connection.
This is just making me think of, I don't know if it has any similarity to like walking a labyrinth or going into kind of like,
you could say that,
even classical music, how it has like a pattern that you kind of
Right.
your brain kind of follows it in a way that's...
Yeah, oh yeah, there's definitely a geometry with the movement. It is the pattern of that V formation that the kahuna had taken from the birds. And there's a story behind it that you're stepping back, which the Hawaiian people believe the back is the future. You step back into your future, which you cannot see. You create by taking in the universe into the heart.
Oh.
And then you send it back out to the stars. So one of the terms, lomi lomi ke ala hoku, means journey to the stargate or pathway to the stars.
Uh-huh.
So it is
that's
really a journey, and it's not so much about journeying. Yes, you journey outwardly, but it's really a deep inner journey.
Uh-huh.
And the infinity that it creates and the actual patterning of the movement, tonal frequencies. I mean, Hawaiians were very big on chant, and sound, and the gourds and the drums, and it all connected. Nothing was separate. And this is an ancient way, an ancient pathway.
So how popular and how known is this in Hawaii itself?
Well, it's not as popular. Most people know Hawaiian dance as hula, which tells the birth of Hawaii. This dance, kalele, means the flight, and that is because of the bird, is really the story of your soul.
Uh-huh.
And when you are it's an actual, I want to say it's not so much that you're doing different movements. It stays with a specific pattern and frequency, but you're going into layers upon layers upon layers, and it's like an unfolding and shedding like the serpent skin. You're taking off the layers of all the old that maybe are limiting you, and it brings you into a place of limitlessness.
Now, do you teach this, or...
I have, yes, I have. And I sometimes work privately in sessions with people if they have a specific issue that they want to work on.
And what do you find it's best at helping people with?
Well, it definitely will help the negative programming of the mind and the old patterning that keeps us stuck and rigid and limited. It really helps to shed that so that you really are coming into your multidimensional self. You're coming into that part of yourself that is your divine presence, and to embody your divine presence, you get to also awaken uniqueness, your gifts, your abilities, your talents. It opens the heart to really heal wounding. I also think for women and men too, it's the lower part of the body, the womb energy, and just because men don't have a physical womb, it's not about the physical uterus, it's about the womb energy of creational energy. Men and women are born out of the womb of the mother. So it's powerful in that you get to shed layers of discord, of dissonance, things that are maybe keeping us stuck in old programming, and you shed those layers to come into the part of yourself that's been waiting, your magnificence, your divinity, your most beautiful self that you come here to thrive in.
So can you do it yourself? Do you need to go with a group, or can you learn to do it?
I mean, it is a practice that you do have to learn because it's a repetition. There's an absolute repetition. I teach other dances that are more organic in nature. I feel for myself personally, I like having something that has a bit of a structure to it because there's something about the resonance of that repetition that it takes those layers off. And yet I've also had experiences with organic, free-form, ecstatic movement that can also do that. It really depends on what mood I'm in, what I'm feeling, maybe what specific issue I'm working on. I like having the balance of working ecstatically in an organic nature and also having some structure to give us a sense of groundedness and centeredness and connecting with everything in the cosmos.
So if I was trying to figure out how to do this myself, like we're in New York, and New York has so many things available, but what if I wasn't in New York? How would I How would I hook up with this?
Well, there are people in other parts of the globe that teach. One of my teachers is now living in Australia, and she has students from all over the world. I know there are people in New Mexico, California, Arizona, Germany, Hawaii, New York. Trying to think of where else I know some of my other tribe. I mean, they're in other parts of the world. You'd have to look it up. There are not many teachers that teach. This is an ancient practice, but it's not, I think it came out, actually it did come out around the 70s, so it hasn't been out very long. It's older than that, but the kahuna of this lineage, Kahu Abraham Kauai, who has now since passed, he felt that it was needed because he saw the Western world and where it was headed and decided to bring it out and start to teach it. And that's how it started coming out. It was around the late 70s, I believe.
So, and is there a particular type of music that you use for it?
I mean, I use a lot of Hawaiian music, tribal music, Native American music. You can use really anything that feels good to you because, again, it's your intention. The most important part of this dance, besides the beautiful movement and the fluidity of it, is that you set an intention that's clear. Because with intention and then the movements or sound, that's how you heal. That's how you manifest and create. So intention is important.
So every time you dance, you have an intention. You start with an intention for that dance.
Yes.
And then do you come back to it, or is it like a meditation where you keep going back to the same
intention
thing?
I set a different intention every time, but it can go back. I mean, you may pick another intention and then all of a sudden you find yourself going back to another intention that maybe you're still working through an issue. There's no wrong or right way to it. I feel that it's really just to trust in what you're feeling from your heart space. It's very much. It's also called the dance of angels or the movement of the midwife. It opens the heart. It brings us in alignment with our souls, our divinity. It connects us to the elements in creation. It opens us up to other dimensions. It's really, ancient shamanic dances, not just this one. That's what they were created for. In ancient times, the temple priests and priestesses used sound vibration, movement, dance, drumming, other instruments of musical nature to awaken us, to bring us into the other dimensional shifts and energies that, are here for us. I think that it's really needed now on the planet because of where we're headed. So much is changing so fast that we really are in need of positive change, and we have to keep our hearts open. We have to heal the wounds in the heart. I think that we're not separate from the earth, we're not separate from the stars and the cosmic forces, but we have forgotten our divinity. We have forgotten that we are beings of light, of love in a human body that chose to be here on this plane of existence at this time.
Let me ask you, because you said that you're going to give us a demonstration with this bell in a bit, in this crystal
bowl.
Crystal bowl, yeah. But I wanted to ask you if you could just show me what the sound was that started opening up for you, and that's what got you interested in the sonics part, right?
The sound that was coming through me from the dance were what I call tonal frequencies. There are open tonal frequencies that are kind of straightforward tones, and then there are overtone harmonics that the Tuvans, Tibetans, Mongolians, simultaneous notes happening at the same time. I can demonstrate both. The tonal sound that came through as a result of the dance first, and then it's funny because about a year after that is when the frequencies that were coming from simultaneous notes, the overtone harmonics, started to happen. I was not taught either of these. I began to study after the fact because I didn't know what it was, and I was like, well, I need to know what this is.
Yeah, that is so.
It's usually the other way around. It's like, wait a minute, what is this, and why am I doing it, and how am I doing it? So the sound, if you want me to demonstrate,
I would love to. Yeah, I would love to hear like what started happening.
Because of the dance, the geometries of light, you go into other worlds, you go into an ecstatic state. It begins to open, it removes the blockages of negativity. When you start to remove those blockages, I found, and this is what I felt, I have chills when I think about it, in that moment that the tonal frequencies were coming through, what came to me, and it happened later too, I felt it again, this is who I am in divine form. That frequency, if you took the physical layers off of us, at least for me, that tonal frequency was my divine soul being expressed.
So you felt that the tone that you made was unique to you, the particular tone?
I mean, in that moment, yes, but we are made of sound. We are sound vibration, and I think you might pick up a sound from somebody else, like you get really inspired. I find this work is very inspiring and empowering. You hear it, and you're not just taking it in audibly, you're taking it in with every cell of your being. So I'm just going to go ahead and this is an open tonal frequency. This is kind of what came through when I first began the work. Very high vibrational energy. Then over time, what began to develop from playing around with the notes and the way I would move my mouth, overtones began to birth out. It's very difficult to not move when that comes through because it really is a dance happening inside.
What is the hand movement?
Some people will say it's signing the sounds, like a sign language. For me, believe it or not, it started not so much with my hands, it started with my trunk. I began to, I would say an undulation began to happen. An undulation, and what I felt happening was there was this contraction and then expansion. So it was, you know, going from the occiput in the back of the head here, which is where vibration can sometimes come in from outside of ourselves. It's really this undulation of the heart and the womb and our third eye, everything, all the chakras basically start to contract and then expand. So it's almost like, I'll say from my experience, that you begin to expand, contract, that also in that movement, you start shedding blockages that keep you limited, that keep you stuck, you're trapped in.
And can you feel that at the time? Can you sense that in yourself? Or
Oh,
you just
definitely.
notice it afterward?
Yeah, and sometimes afterwards you will have a detox reaction. You might get a headache, you might feel nauseated, you might get very exhausted, emotional.
My friend was telling me, I was telling her about this, the interview that we were talking about, and she said that she had gone to see some monks do this toning, and that she went home and she threw up. It just really affected her whole body.
Yeah, I've had that experience with the dance and the sound where it opens up an old wound that may have been lodged in there that's dormant, and it finally gets released, and it'll come out through the form of some physical manifestation. It could be back pain, it could be nausea where you vomit. It could be a migraine headache. It could just be intense tears and crying and physical, you know, like having a flu symptom or something, like having body aches.
So the vibration is just kind of shaking it out of you.
Exactly, it is. Well, think about it, vibration. It's like, you know, everything starts to shudder and shake, and all that stuckness that's in the DNA starts to, here, you know, it's coming up now. Now where is it going to go? It has to make its way out.
Right. That makes
sense. It can't stay in. When your vibration raises the lower frequency, this is entrainment. It's where you take that lower frequency, you bring it up to the high frequency, and it has no choice but to merge and cleanse and clear out. If you can't take the lower frequency with you once you raise it to the higher. It just doesn't work.
Wow. This is interesting. This is so interesting, and we're going to run short on time, so I want to get you onto the crystal bowl now, because we have a few more things.
This is an F-sharp crystal bowl, an alchemy bowl that is a sage forest gold platinum, and it's connection of the earth mother Gaia for groundedness, but it's also the high heart, which is the higher heart of divine love of not only the self, of love of the the universe, and basically it's to help earth you but connect you to your heart.
So are you telling me the tone is of the high heart?
Yes, it's an F sharp, which is high heart.
Wow. Wow. So where does a person get something like this?
Well, I got this from Crystal Tones. They're in Utah. They're pretty amazing, the crystal bowls. I find that when I speak languages or do vocal tones without it, it's very different. And I don't know how I would explain how it's different. It's just a different feeling. It's a different bandwidth of energy. Sometimes I like working a lot with the bowl because it feels like it's activating something deep within me. And then there are times I don't want to have anything in my hands because the movement, the sound is coming in so strong that I need my hands to be free, my body to be free so that I can move.
Right.
It really does depend on, what I'm working through and what organically wishes to come through.
Uh-huh. Okay, I'd like to have you give us a demonstration also of the dance. Could you give us a demonstration now?
Absolutely, I can.
Okay, terrific. We're going to just cut to that now.
Om karaton eriam ansaralam oriam shun karatoria ansaralam orianto taraka arasal atsore ichen ariman onansaraseria shosotoroma anzure gemiaria ansaria onsea ominia.